Live from inside the Dick Otke Construction broadcast booth, it is the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. Alongside Shane Sherman, I'm Brendan Matthews, and we are in the midst of our third race of the day. You see it behind us right now as we've got a lot still to come, and this is the staggered start race. So we will have essentially 4 different classes going on at the same time, Shane.
Right, and when you mention staggered start, Brendan, that's what that means. Each start you see is a different respective class of racing. So while they are on the course together, they are not racing against each other.
Right.
As we see right now, one of our Class 2 entries, the Bat Boat. No mistake in that boat with those giant Batman wings on the back of it. Elliott Gray, Jay Mueller. And then right behind that, you see a much smaller single-engine outboard catamaran. Those boats are definitely not competing against each other, even though they are on the course at the same time.
So lap 1 in the books, and we've got in Class 2, right now it's the wide open boat followed by the Bat Boat.
And the report we're getting from the boat that spun out earlier, no injuries, everybody's fine, just, you know, a spin out, getting towed back in by Towboat US, probably Captain Dave Anderson out there doing a little bit of towing, and they'll bring them back here to the Beavers at the dam docks and get them lifted out of the water. So glad to hear both of those guys are okay as we zoom in on boat 211, Elliott Gray and the Bat Boat. Beautiful MTI catamaran. I believe they are running out in front right now in their respective class.
Well, the information we just got was that the wide open boat was running first in Class 2, which didn't sound right to me either if we think the Bat Boat is out in front at the moment.
Yeah, definitely hard to say, but great job if Wide Open is out front with Lauren and Bill on board. Those guys in their rookie race, to my knowledge, at least for Lauren, just got a report in from Jim Watson, the 212 Marineback's boat, lost an ignition box, and that's what pulled them out of the race. As we look in right now on the Wide Open boat with Lauren Peters and
huge
Bill
rooster
Warren on board.
tail.
Yeah,
huge rooster tail on
absolutely.
that boat right now.
That boat has way more horsepower than what is required to meet the breakout speed in this class. If I'm not mistaken, I know it's got some of the high horsepower Mercury engines in it, easily capable of running north of 150 miles per hour, and I believe breakout in this class is 115. So,
well, explain why, because obviously we've seen the Bat Boat exceed those breakout speeds, as you mentioned earlier, many times. Why race in a class where you're capable of going so much faster than the breakout speed?
Couple different reasons. One, you're not taxing your equipment. So as we seen earlier, the Speed Racer boat entered in 2 classes of racing. He could come out here with what his boat is capable of, running Class 2, basically like a warm-up for them. They're running at about 70% throttle, not hurting the equipment. Same thing for the Bat Boat and the Wide Open boat. Both of those boats easily capable of speeds north of 150. They can come out here and not have to hold it on the dash the whole time, so they're not taxing or tearing up their equipment. Plus, it's also a way for them to get some experience on a race course without having to run at extreme speed. So, you know, while 115 miles an hour is still fast on the water, it's not fast for that respective boat, and it's a good way for someone entering the sport the first time to get their feet wet, learn about turning, learn about communication with their throttle man and driver inside the boat. All the things that you don't experience in a pleasure boat environment.
So the Edward J. painting boat in Class 4.
Yeah, that's the boat I mentioned earlier. 2 different brands of manufacturers. I believe it's Argo and Twister. Both European manufacturers build hulls similar to that. A lot of the boats you see over in Europe run a tandem canopy where the driver and throttle man sit one in front of the other, unlike this boat where they're side by side, which is much more popular here in the U.S. What we basically see, all the boats here in the U.S. are side by side. Single engine outboard catamaran. Just a fun, neat little class of racing as we see the Wide Open boat getting ready to overtake Early Detection. Major speed difference between those 2 boats. And as they're showing us the Strictly Business boat with the Beavers at the dam in the background there. coming into turn 1, the Bagnell Dam turn.
And we've got 4 different classes in this race, folks. So again, you're going to see boats deck to deck right next to each other that aren't racing in the same class. You'll see boats passing one another, again, that may not be in the same class. And as we take a look right there, which, again, I believe that's another look at the wide open boat, as it was, at least at one point, running in front here in Class 2.
We see that neat little, I can't wait to get down on the docks later on and check this boat out. It's a boat I've always been fascinated with. I've never got to spend any time up close with them. So really excited to see it here at Lake Race for sure. So hopefully she'll be down on the docks at Beavers later on. We'll get an up close personal look at that one. As we see the Bat boat at the finish line, the Big Thunder Marine finish line cam, the Bat boat came off plane now. I was not counting laps on that. Class 2.
Class 2 is a 10-lap race.
I don't think they ran anywhere near 10 laps.
Nope.
So definite mechanical issue there, which is going to put Lauren Peters and Bill Warren out in front without a doubt, because the other 2 entries, Marine Max and Speed Racer, have both fallen to mechanical problems. So what a great, debut for a rookie right there. He's in his backyard, Lake of the Ozarks. I know Lauren and them have a vacation home here, and he's going to come home with a checkered flag in his first race.
And it goes to help us make another point that we talk about a lot in this competition, Shane, and that is a lot of times this is a war of attrition. It's not necessarily who's got the fastest boat, whose boat can outlast the other in a 10-lap exhibition like this, 10 laps where the course is over 4 miles long.
Absolutely. One of the first sayings that I heard in racing many years ago, I think it was some of the Outboard Cat guys, that told me this: it's not how fast you go, it's how long you go fast.
So 217, so the wide open boat we're now being told is DQ. We saw them make that ill-advised turn early on. We wondered a little bit about that. So would that eliminate everybody from Class 2, or is the Bat boat pulling off plane because of the fact that everybody else was DQ'd?
I'm not exactly sure how OPA runs.
And real quick here, excuse
rules.
me, Shane, we're taking a look at one of our elite roofing and siding replays as some of the action here earlier in this race. But this is going to be interesting because now we have seen all of the Class 2 boats pull off, and I'm not sure if we're looking
now
at
we've got both of our Class 2 boats back out there again. So on the reports we're getting,
still looking at a replay here.
Possible. So if indeed the 217 boat was disqualified, Elliott Gray and the Bat boat is going to walk away with a checkered flag. Some other forms of racing, I know drag racing, the rule is first or worst, because sometimes you can have multiple infractions in the same race, but whoever creates an infraction first, or whichever infraction is the worst, is the pecking order.
And we should say, Shane, that at this stage of the game, the Bat boat would have no idea that the boat 217, the wide open boat, has been DQ'd. It's still out on the course. The Bat boat has, as you mentioned, it's back out on plane right now. It is back on the water. But according to everything that we've been told here in the Dick Gotke Construction broadcast booth, is that it would be a one-horse race right now with the Bat boat in Class number 2. It's the Performance Boat Center 2017 Lake Race live from Beavers at the Dam. We're back with more after this. It's the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race live from Beavers at the Dam. Stream us live, KRMSradio.com, 935rocksthelake.com. First Mate and Aqualogic Marine bring you our stream. Manual to remote, they help control your boat. Visit firstmatecontrols.com. And we get a look at the boatfloater.com boat. Again, a defending Lake Race champion there in the Super V-Light category out on the water right now.
Great looking boat, nice sponsor, good smooth turn there. Just a class act as we see the Strictly Business boat coming onto our screen now. Again, running unopposed, but doing a wonderful job out there, keeping the boat in good trim. I've noticed in that boat, I believe she's a 35. She might be a 38 fountain, but she is getting tossed around a little bit, which tells me the course is getting a little rougher out there. Now, that being said, the boats that we're seeing out there now are a little larger than the previous classes, so they will be throwing a little bit of a larger wake, which, one of the things on Lake of the Ozarks, we have a lot of seawalls, so those same wakes will bounce back and forth several times, and it is going to cause the lake to get a little rougher. As we come back to the 217 boat, the wide open boat of Lauren Peters and Bill Warren. We got a report earlier they had been penalized for a course infraction at the start. They are back out there running. They may not be aware of it. We could have been fed a little bit of wrong information. Not real clear what's going on in Class 2 right now, but we do know the boats are both out there on the track and running, the bat boat and the wide open boat.
Shane, let's take a look right now at the meet and greet street party on the Strip, and that is presented to you by Lake Collision Repair, an opportunity to meet some of the race teams, some of the drivers, get some autographs, and this whole deal, once again, just enormous crowds. And it seems like, Shane, the crowds get bigger and bigger every year for this deal.
That is one thing that I like about it, is it's growing. Everybody says, well, they could have done this or they could have, anybody can play Monday morning quarterback and sit out there and say what they should have done different. What I like so much about OPA and specifically Lake Race, it gets better every year. We have never had anything take us in a backwards direction. Everything has always been positive, moving forward and getting better each year with Lake Race.
Saw the bat boat there, and again, all sponsored by Lake Collision Repair, quality repair with people who care. 573-302-0229, LakeCollisionRepair.com. And it is always great when the weather behaves for an event like this, Shane. And
yes,
it certainly did.
Yes, I believe it was last year at Lake Race, we had to seek shelter in a trailer, a transport trailer out on the street because we had our booth outdoors, and a storm just came ripping down the lake, and we all ended up in an enclosed trailer to ride that little storm out.
I gave you a screen grab from last year's event where we were broadcasting live from a broom closet. At least that's the way it appeared on the air. And we've got, again, this race has absolutely turned into a battle of attrition as we have another one getting towed off the course right now, Shane.
Yep, that's the Jersey Outlaw entry, the AmmoCamo.com Scarab. The report was that they had spun out between turns 1 and 2, a vantage point that we cannot see from our broadcast booth. So, most importantly, both guys are okay. Boat doesn't look to have any major damage. Most likely, I'm going to guess they tore a skeg off or an outdrive, but you can see both the guys waving at us right there. Obviously, they're both okay and appear to be in good spirits. I'm sure they'd like to still be out there racing, as would any racer here right now. Right now on our screen, I just went away, the Edward J. Painting boat of is Dave Hummey and Rick Katecki. The boat make is listed as a Yuka, Y-U-K-A. Completely unfamiliar with that one. That is the first time I've ever heard that name. But it's also listed as a V-bottom, which is clearly not. It's a catamaran. So I believe we got a little misinformation on that one as we're watching the Strictly Business Fountain V-bottom run in away from us here on the course. We see the bat boat coming in now. Elliot Gray, Jay Mueller, gorgeous MTI catamaran, home right here on Lake of the Ozarks. And you see Jay pulling his jacket off. Now, it could be possible, we mentioned earlier about not knowing about the penalties. Very, very likely somebody radioed out to them because Jay is pulling double duty. He's going to jump in the WHM boat and go out there and throttle. So, one guy getting a lot of seat time out there today right now for sure is that one design Rindell bat boat out there. I think this is the second class that he's entered that boat in thus far. So if they're giving a trophy out for miles turned on Lake of the Ozarks at Lake Race, I'd say the Rindell boat is in the running for that one out there.
I can tell you, folks, this hour of the 2017 Lake Race is brought to you by Osmond Construction. If you're in the market for a custom home or commercial construction, visit OsmondConstruction.com with over 30 years experience bringing you this hour of the 2017 Lake Race. We are at the bottom of the 1 o'clock hour right now in our third race of the day, where we've really for the first time this afternoon had a lot of mechanical issues, and the Bat Boats has endured some mechanical issues on this race. And again, as we look at the 217 boat, the wide open boat, which we have been made to understand has already been DQ'd. So essentially wiping out the field, which was a 4-boat field in Class 2, Shane. We assume the Bat Boat is going to be the winner right now, but we think it is off the course right now as well.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, they could have very easily been radioed from shore that, hey guys, you've won the race. Save the equipment, and like I mentioned, Jay is going to pull the throttle man out of there. He's going to pull double duty today. He's going to jump in the WHM Super Cat and go out there and do battle with the top names in the sport. He shares the cockpit with Billy Moff, who I'd love to hear a number. If anybody out there on the WHM team is listening, I'd like to know how many races Billy Moff has started, because it's a bunch. I know Bob Teague, who we're going to see in that class also, I believe is around 1,000 races started in multiple different classes of racing. I know we're going to see Randy Sism later. His number's got to be up there huge in number of races ever. But, the thing I like also, WHM, the old WHM boat is now MCon Construction. Those guys have started one race before this. And this will be race number 2 for them, right alongside guys who have started 1,000 offshore races. And I don't say that, insignificantly. Bob Teague has started over 1,000 powerboat races, an extreme veteran of the marine racing industry. Billy Moff, again, his numbers have got to be up there in the, I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess somewhere around 450 to 500 races started for Billy. I don't know if he's raced in any other form of powerboat racing other than offshore, but many offshore starts for Billy.
TheBoatFloater.com boat making its way around turn number 2 in bleed, we believe, in the Super V-Light category. Stephen and Steve Kildall, the defending champions here at Lake Race in the Super V-Light category. Hey, at this stage of the game, Shane, in this third race, you're still out on the water. You're doing something right.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever happened to those guys before they started the race, I wouldn't order that particular sandwich, because it did not go down too well for those guys, unfortunately. And speaking of sandwiches, our vantage point here at the broadcast booth, some of the food that's been coming out over at Beavers at the Dam, if you're within earshot, you better get down there and order some food. I personally would take a sample from Beavers if they're listening. They want to bring some food over to the broadcast booth. I'll let y'all know how good it tastes.
I think that's a great recommendation, and literally we could see you guys down there. We're looking right at you.
Absolutely. I mean,
we're eating food around us.
Exactly. It's like teasing a hungry dog by hanging a steak over the fence. It's not fair. But the pizza there is great. Love the pizza there. But yeah, if you're within earshot, all the restaurants up and down the strip last night were just crazy busy. I mean, I snuck into into Casa Grotto, one of my favorites, last night about 10 o'clock. You couldn't get a seat. And that was, way up the strip. And from there, everywhere down, just, wall-to-wall people. So Lake Race is definitely bringing the crowd to the lake on, like we had mentioned earlier, what would normally be a slow weekend for us here.
And what a shame for the wide open boat, Shane, because it has run seemingly a tremendous race. But again, by all indications, they made that one turn right at the start that is going to put them in the DQ category. Absolutely,
and nothing against the excitement of seeing that green flag and taking off. I mean, you're just so overwhelmed. You're so excited. Number one, nobody got hurt. Thank goodness. And yes, even though they may have been disqualified or received a penalty, the thing they're getting out there right now is experience and seat time with all of the safety assets that we have in place. We have an overhead helicopter, we have divers, we have rescue personnel at every single corner. So let's take the finishing order out of it. Those guys are getting valuable seat time and experience with the best safety personnel in offshore powerboat racing here to protect them in the event that they do have an incident. So all is not lost because of a little infraction they experienced earlier on today.
Yeah, Woods Supermarket camera there. We're taking a look at the Edward J. Painting boat. passing by our broadcast perch position.
Just a fun little boat again. I would love to see 15 or 20 of those out here doing battle, those little single-engine outboard catamarans. Now that would be some excitement. As we see the wide-open 217 boat, looks like it's about ready to gobble up the, I believe it's the WPM in the Super V Light class? Let me find it here. DPM, I'm sorry. DPM Motorsports about to be overtaken by the wide-open boat, and again, two totally separate classes of racing, not competing against each other at all, but both of those boats are wrapping up their respective classes now. We've got to be in the finishing laps for sure at this point.
Yeah, we're again, we've got 4 different classes going on at once. So again, just because you see a boat deck to deck with another is not necessarily indicative of those 2 boats, but a little deck-to-deck battle right there, nonetheless.
Right. I think the only 2 boats still competing against one another that are on the course right now would be the DPM entry and the boat floater entry. Correct. In Super V Light.
There's the boat floater boat right now, making its pass towards turn number 3. And a great wide angle look here of the course. Over 4 miles long and a lot of action, but again, a lot of attrition in this race as well. Mechanical issues, disqualifications, a lot has to go right in a race like this that's 10 laps long.
Right, so 10 laps, you're running about 43 miles here on this lake race. And when we see the fastest boats that we have here at Lake Race, the Extremes, and as well as the Super Cats, they're both going to run 12 laps, but they're going to be divided up into 2 heats of 6 laps each. So the lengthiest race that we're going to see is what's on the course right now. The big boats, if you will be running 2 separate heats.
There's the Edward J. Painting boat, which right now, by our count, is leading in Class 4 over that Reindl Power boat. So an Edward J. Painting inaugural race in Lake Race.
Absolutely,
He's going to take home a Class 4 championship, at least right now, it would appear.
Yeah, and the boat has appeared to run flawless from the drop of the green flag. They've really not had anything go wrong for them at all, and done everything just picture perfect. So great race for Edward J. Painting out there at Lake Race 2017, as we see the wide open boat making its way back up, and
there it is,
Edward J. Painting. And look at what a great attitude and a set that boat has. The front step is just barely breaking the water. It's carrying the nose real well. It's not rocking back and forth, and you can see the waves coming in from the port side of that boat. There are some significant waves out there for a boat of that size, and the boat just showing, a great attitude as it dances its way across there and makes its way into turns, which I believe would be 1 and 2 up here at our Bagnell Dam turn.
Correct.
Just a great job by those guys in that boat, and looks like they're slowing a little bit, so I believe they're coming towards the end of their race as well. Be nice if we could get a lap count right now to see where exactly
they're on. The Edward J. Painting is on its last lap right now.
Great. We see the Blue Water boat there. That's our start-finish boat. And we heard a little background chatter from them earlier. They're all having a good time out there. I personally am going to apply for a job next year on the start-finish boat. So it seemed like they were having a way, way better time than we were having up here, Brendan.
Oh, I'll tell you what you need to do. We need to come up with some sort of setup like they do now in hockey, where you've got the play-by-play guy sitting up high above in like the catbird seat, high above the rink, and then the analyst sitting down there rink side. So we figure that out next year, Dennis. We'll put Shane in the
I could go for analyst.
Finish.
Yeah, analyst sounds like a good fit
you're
for
an analyst?
Me.
Yeah,
sure, I can be an analyst, or I can be a consultant, whatever you need me to be.
So our final standings right now, the Edward J. Painting boat 1, Reindl Power boats 2 in Class 4, as we thought. The boat floater boat's going to win a second lake race, second straight lake race here. And again, we're being told wide open is 1. We've been told on the course that it's been DQ'd. we'll try to get some sort of official word on that as we go along. But
here's one thing for sure. They had a lot of fun out there.
no question about it.
They had a lot of fun.
They really ran a very solid race.
And a
Very
safe
solid
race. You know, infractions, they happen. As long as nobody got hurt, great job.
We'll step aside. It's the Performance Boat Center 2017 Lake Race, and we're back after this. It's the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race live for Beavers at the Dam. Great look out on the strip right now. A lot of incredible boats. Our weather forecast for the rest of this afternoon, they're slowly but surely taking the rain out of the forecast. That is some good news. We'll have temperatures topping out at around 84 degrees. We're currently at 82 right now on the strip at Beavers at the Dam, and no need to look at the radar right now. What you see is what you get, and partly cloudy skies here. And again, that weather update is brought to you by PDQ Marine.
How about we switch that to mostly sunny skies?
Let's call it mostly sunny.
Mostly sunny. We're going to go with mostly sunny right now.
Let's take a look at one of our bar sweeps right now, as a lot of the local businesses, a lot of the local establishments checking us out here. This is over at Tucker Shuckers. Not sure if we're supposed to...
enjoy the race.
Yeah, here's Brad.
They're all enjoying it in beautiful air conditioning here, watching it on TV, seeing all the action.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. And that live look at Tucker Shuckers as they're enjoying the race, enjoying a lot of great action down here on the strip. And it's all over the place. I hope folks are enjoying the broadcast this afternoon as we continue to bring it to you live from Beavers at the Dam.
As we see our Class 4 boats out there still, the Rindell Power boats, Pink Bat boat, and the Edward J. Painting single engine outboard catamaran, and they are wrapping up their race right now as you see them make their way into the far end of the course. Looks like Edward J. Painting making their way through the turn right now, and yep, Edward J. Painting for sure making their way through right now on the course. As we see the West Turn Cam brought to us by the Property Shop and some of our safety assets out there, U.S. Coast Guard here this weekend, Missouri Highway Patrol, of course, all of our firefighters, Osage Beach, Lake Ozark, all out there making sure everyone is safe at Lake Race 2017.
Yeah, that's the Edward J. Painting boat making its way down the final straightaway here, and taking a look at the Property Shop at the lake, West Turn Camera. And I believe right now we're getting set to head down to Brad Harrington once again. He's going to bring us another dock report presented to you by Somerset Boat Lifts. And we say hello again to Brad. Brad.
Hey everybody, it's Brad Harrington down here on the docks, and look who I ran into, one of the fastest guys on earth, and definitely on water, Slug Hefner with American Ethanol.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Last year at the shootout, we ran 2:17, and that, I believe, is the world's fastest speed for a piston-driven offshore boat.
That's just amazing, and you guys got even more power this year.
That's what they're telling us. Don just told me that they're pumping up the motors a little bit, and Earl has worked very hard. The whole crew has been thrashing it, so they've shortened the course by a quarter mile, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, but you guys will still, it's awesome. That boat is just amazing. And good luck with that coming up, and you guys got another event down in Oklahoma, right?
That is correct. It's on the Grand Lakes, and that was the first time that was my first time in the boat, and we ran 2:06 at that event last year.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. It's always a crowd pleaser.
Well, thank you very much. Look forward to being there.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, back to you guys up in the booth.
Thank you very much, Brad. His report sponsored by Somerset Boat Lifts. Visit somersetboatlifts.com. Back out on the water right now. We continue to see the Edward J. Painting boat wrap up its afternoon, where we believe it has captured a Class 4 championship in its inaugural race here at Lake Race.
Yeah, that's totally new style of boat. We've never seen one of those here at Lake Race before, and very few of them in the country. So great that they brought that boat out to Lake Race as we see, the Class 4 boat and the Super V Light boat together there. Again, two different classes of racing.
Correct.
On the course, and great to see Slug Hefner running around the pit area. And as they mentioned in their dock report, he drives Don Onken's American Ethanol 50-foot Mystic that multiple runs in excess of 200 mile an hour, as we've seen at our Lake Ozark Shootout event. And another crowd favorite that calls Lake of the Ozarks home.
The American Ethanol, which I believe is the Cat Can Do boat.
Correct. They are represented by Cat Can Do here at Lake Race, and we'll see them a little bit later on today. One of the, as I'm looking, I believe, the only conventional blower motor boat that will probably be out there, because we've seen Speed Racer fall to attrition earlier. Haven't heard yet if they're going to make the extreme class, but American Ethanol Cat Can Do boat, what we would call old school muscle. And as we look out there, beautiful MCon Super Cat boat out there. Their second race, Brett and Tyler Miller, two cousins out of Wathena, Kansas, following Tyler's dream of offshore powerboat racing. They have a few pleasure boats here on the lake, as well as one in Florida. Just boaters. They just love boating, and they'll be entering their second race ever here at Lake Race 2017.
Out of St. Joe, Missouri, and an opportunity to race in our Super Cat class. Take a look there at the HP Mafia boat.
Another father and son team. It's just great that the dads and the sons can get out here and do this. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe a couple years ago at the shootout, we seen Doc Jansen run a pass with his daughter. So that was a father-daughter pass that we seen there. So always great to see the families getting involved out here. I alluded earlier, the Millers and Tyler's wife texted in. There's so many B's. They got Barrett, Breyer, Bailey, Bentley. She gets confused when she starts hollering all their names, but just a great family event to both participate in and watch. So it's not too late. If you can hear us, you can still get to us in time to watch the fastest boats in offshore put on a show here at Lake of the Ozarks.
There's the Rindle boat, which is still out on the water right now in that Class 4 battle with Edward J. Painting. Again, we see them wrapping up their race as we also see those Super Cats, Shane, start to mill around and start to get ready. And we'll tell the folks right now, this is going to be a great battle between the Super Cats, because they are going to run in our 4th race coming up and in our 6th race. So we've got 2 6. This is going to be fast. How about Fast and Furious? This Super Cat race, heck, it might be anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. We're going to have a winner, boom, and then they head back to the docks, refuel, do what you need to do, and then back out there, and we will have the leader, the current leader in the Super Cats. They will get that inside track when they begin their second race.
Exactly. And, we've got the biggest names in offshore here. We've got Teague, we've got Moff, we've got Johnny Tomlinson, we've got... let's see, who's another big name we've got out there? Herb Stotler, Jimmy Kazani. Rusty Ron coming off of his rookie season, which was just epic. I think he had a 3-peat, national, world, and regional champion in that boat. Have not heard yet if Randy Kent's going to make the stripe in his Speed Racer boat. And then right along beside all those veterans, we've got the rookies in there. Anthony Smith in junior in the HP Mafia boat. Brett Miller and Tyler Miller, only their second race. I think the Smith family has 3 or 4 races under their belt. Definitely not rookies, but not veterans of the sort as Bob Teague, Billy Moff, Johnny Tomlinson.
Right.
Those guys, just thousands of races combined between all of them, because Bob Teague has over 1,000 by himself. As we see the DPM Super V Light make its way back into Beavers at the dam.
Second place finish there for the DPM. Boat floater, a champion again unofficially in the Super V Light category. It is the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. Big time action coming up shortly here. Back after this. It's the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. YamoCamo.com boat being towed back to the dock here, Shane.
Yep, that, as reported to us, a little spin out between turns 1 and 2 at the beginning of their race. But as you can see, both the driver and driver and throttle man perfectly fine on there. So that's always the first thing we look at in an incident. Is everybody okay?
Is that, we just told that the Cat Can Do boat was...
Said they were having a bit of difficulties getting her fired up and ready.
That's them right there,
That's
right?
them in the water for sure. So either they're still fighting that gremlin or they've figured it out. But nonetheless, they have not pulled the boat from the water, which is a great sign. So hopefully it's something simple they can that they can get worked out, because they do have a little bit of time as we're going to watch our Super Cats run before the Extreme
they got
class.
some time left.
You know, and Cat Can Do, a crowd favorite. It's definitely an older boat.
Boat number 19. You see it on your screen.
Yeah, definitely an older boat. Has a whole different attitude about it when it comes around the course. And one of the best shots ever at lake races when they shoot down the course and you see that boat coming at you. You know, it's wide, it's tall. You can see all the way through the tunnel of that boat. It just makes for a really, really neat shot. So hopefully those guys in the Cat Can Do American Ethanol boat can figure out what's going on.
Closed captioning for Lake Race is presented to you by Reinhold Electric. And of course, we're streaming on KRMSradio.com, 935rocksthelake.com, brought to you by First Mate and Aqualogic Marine, as the big cats we're starting to
you're watching
starting to mill about.
The milling area. They will circle. And,
Super Cats, I should say.
Yep. They'll circle around as you see the red flag up on the cigarette paste boat out there. They'll just continue to mill, circle around that pace boat until it gives them a green flag. I'm sorry, not a green flag, but a yellow flag. They'll get underway. I believe we'll see a parade lap, and then we'll see obviously some green flag racing. As you see all the boats. Look like we got a cutie cam there on board Cleveland Construction.
Porkies and Night Moves give you cutie cam. And I'm always amazed by the young ladies that wind up on cutie cam that may have no idea that they're...
Generally after, usually via social media, someone lets them know they've been spotted by the cutie cam camera sniper.
And we're hearing the folks too. We can hear the folks on the finish line, Shane. Some of you throughout the course of the day may hear some rumbling just kind of out of nowhere, and those are the folks you mentioned it earlier down at the finish line camera having a lot of fun.
A lot of
water.
fun.
They're on the water. We're back here. Things are starting to heat up. We've got the bright light shining down on us.
And we still don't have that food delivery from Beavers, but that kitchen is slammed over there. But I'm sure we're going to be getting in a moment.
Anytime now. Anytime.
As we watch our Super Cats
and
Performance Boat Center, you know, every event that comes to Lake of the Ozarks, Mark Waddington, Brett Manier, they step up and put on a Class X show. You know, lake race, shootout, all the boat shows that are here. You know, they have reinvented the performance boat retail sales market, you know, after the economic downturn that we faced as a country here, and they have done it textbook at a top-notch level. If you're a boat enthusiast of any type, let alone a performance boat enthusiast, and you haven't seen that facility, you know, it's definitely a must-stop place when you're in Lake of the Ozarks. You know, Big Thunder Marine, another one of our sponsors, they're pumping a lot of dollars into that marina and bringing it back up to speed here on Lake of the Ozarks. We see MCON and WHM, Cleveland Construction out there. A little bit of change in the cockpit this year. Ed Smith and Keith Holmes normally together in that cockpit. Now we've got Ed Smith and Bob Teague, as Keith has focused his efforts on the Cat Can Do American Ethanol boat for the season. So a lot of experience bringing Bob Teague into there. But they've only ran, to my knowledge, one race together thus far, which, you know, two extremely experienced guys still witness a learning curve as they learn each other. So a little bit of that still in the cockpit of the Cleveland Construction boat. The boat is ridiculously fast. It was originally called Talking Trash when it first was debuted. It's a fast boat. It should do really well here at Lake Race. I believe they've won Lake Race before in this class in Super Cat, the Cleveland Construction. I know I've done a doc interview.
They have won before, right? The defending champ in the Super Cat, our title sponsor. the Performance Boat Center boat, and they'll look to replicate that coming up in just a little bit. By the way, this hour of Lake Race is brought to you by Osmond Construction. If you're in the market for a custom home or commercial construction, visit osmondconstruction.com or give them a call at 573-365-9644. Over 30 years experience, Osmond Construction.
So we're going to see a totally dominated class by Skater Powerboats in the Super Cat class. Basically, there's two models out there right now, 388 skater and the 40-foot skater. The MCon Construction and the WHM boat are your 40-foot skaters, and actually MCon is the former WHM boat. And then the HP Mafia, Performance Boat Center, Cleveland Construction are all 388 skaters. Theoretically, the 388s should have an advantage here. They are a little faster boat. They do accelerate a little quicker than the 40s.
Let's make a visit again to Brad Harrington. He's got another bar sweep for us, sponsored by Tucker Shuckers. Hello, Brad.
Hey, everybody. From the docks to the blocks, we're up here at the Easy Street Dessert and Wine Bar. Beautiful air conditioning, beautiful crowd here, beautiful people, beautiful boats, and watching it on TV. How about it, folks?
All right, Brad, thank you very much. You saw us on live there, back behind the television. So a lot of people enjoying the festivities and bars all throughout the Lake of the Ozarks watching the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little envious of Brad's position sitting over there at Easy Street in the air conditioning, nice new leather sofas. And the scenery around him wasn't too bad either. As we look out on our spectator fleet here on Lake of the Ozarks, it's just been growing since, the first thing this morning. Just every time we take a new shot out across the lake, there's more and more boats out there. As we pan back over to the Ammo Camo boat getting ready to be lifted out of the water. Now, I can't quite tell from our vantage point, but previously, Cat Can Do was sitting just in front,
right,
or just to the stern of Ammo Camo. I don't see it there now, which is great. So that means maybe they got it figured out. As we see our Super Cats start to jockey for their position.
And Shano, this Super Cat race is presented to you by Polylift Boat Lifts. They don't just build boat lifts, they build polylifts.
That's right. And, polylifts, they bring in a beautiful transportable dock with a lift in it that they bring here to the races. On one pier here at Beavers, we see the Polylift. The other one, we see the Somerset. Those are two great assets to this because they bring a mobile boat lift in. These guys can lift the boats out of the water, take a look at them, as we're seeing the Speed Racer boat over on that Polylift, trying to figure out what's going on with it. I know they're on the phone with the motor builder right now, trying to get back out there for extreme.
Can we get that shot again? That is one of my favorite shots, the wide shot of all of the boats, Shane, and at least for the moment they're neck and neck. It won't be that way for long as we're on the parade lap here currently. I think that's a great shot.
Absolutely, and I heard out on the streets, these guys all love to just nitpick at each other. Just you think you're back in grade school the way they nitpick at one another, and you're going to see some of the best driving ever here because that's what it's going to take today. The driver is paramount in this race. Getting through the turn fast, like I mentioned earlier, is what's going to win this class. Now, unlike some of our other classes, this is not a breakout class. This is as fast as you can go and get to the finish line first. So the driver, you're going to see some real deck-to-deck racing in this class. I look for WHM and Performance Boat Center to be within inches of each other coming into turn one.
I'm not sure if we don't have a couple of bonus boats in this group right now, Shane. Our official roster has 5. Maybe we're just looking at the pace boat there, but I'm not sure if there's an extra rooster tail or 2 in the mix here.
I'm thinking you're seeing your pace boats there, Brendan, because looks like we've got 2 cigarettes and 1 Sensation out of Performance Boat Center. There's your Sensation Center Console out there right now. They may also be running that as a safety boat. I bet you they're running down to turn 1. They'll stage themselves outside of turn 1 as a safety asset because that is getting through turn 1 is going to be the tight one.
And then looks like there's 6 boats there then. Oh, we'll see.
So probably our 2 cigarettes, and then I bet you that Sensation, they're going to use that as a safety boat, as it is one of Performance Boat Center's boats.
I see him. Yep, I see him. Both of the cigarettes there. You might be right.
It's happened once before that they got some confusion on the course with one of the safety access boats. So that's what I was reflecting back on, that clearly it's not a race boat. And I'm not seeing any flags on it. So, and what it also could be, as I seen earlier, I know Performance Boat Center had donated some boats to be camera boats, and I seen some of the photographers on board that Sensation boat, and I bet you that's what we've got right now. That they're probably using it as a photography boat on the parade lap. I know I've seen Pete Bowden from SpeedOnTheWater.com here. I've seen Brad Glidwell out there. A lot of the, I shouldn't say a lot, several of the offshore photographers from around the country are here this weekend, and I'm betting they're using that Sensation boat as a photography platform right now.
This is going to be fun, folks. We're going to have a quick 6-lap race for you. Anything can happen. And as we mentioned, Performance Boat Center are defending champions in the Super Cats. All eyes will be on Team Performance Boat Center. Take a look at the property shop, Western Cameron.
Just, obviously the boats are just barely working right now. That's a good close-up shot right there of WHM as he comes by. Billy Moff, Jay Mueller, and there's MCon Construction, Tyler Miller, Brett Miller, all the Miller clan out there listening. Safe racing to you guys. I know they're all excited, and I was talking to Tyler Miller. They have a pleasure boat here on the lake that's also taken care of by Performance Boat Center, and that's the other thing. Performance Boat Center put this entire MCon boat together. The boat used to be all yellow as WHM. They've painted it, they've rigged it, they've put that entire boat together right here on Lake of the Ozarks. But Tyler Miller, their first race when they were down in Cocoa Beach, their pleasure boat has about 2,500 horsepower. The race boat here has about 1,500 horsepower. They're both 40-foot skaters. So the Miller boys had a lot of seat time in a 40-foot skater, but not with a smaller amount of horsepower. And as they were starting their initial race, they kind of went, about halfway down the straightaway, Tyler was telling me, and Brett comes on the radio and says, okay, let her eat. And Tyler's like, well, she's eating, old boy. She's just down on horsepower a little bit.
Well, back down to the million area are our Super Cats. So this thing is about ready to begin, folks.
Absolutely.
And again, buckle up. This is going to be one of our more exciting races of the day. 6 laps, and then 6 laps in our second race later on this afternoon. They're going to race 4 and race 6. The Super Stocks will be in between. 5 boats to choose from here. Shana, where are you going?
That is hard. I great friends with the MCon guys. I charter Brett's boat down in Florida, so he helps sign some of my paychecks. And I've watched them guys follow that dream. So definitely one of my favorites. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm going to think a deck-to-deck battle between Performance Boat Center and WHM for at least the first 2 laps. I think those 2 boats are probably going to run away with it. I think Performance Boat Center's got a performance advantage, but I think Billy will turn that boat like a Formula One car. So that's my opinion. We're going to find out here in about 20 seconds as these boats line up. Look at this shot when the rooster tails come up.
Awesome.
We're about
deal.
to see something.
Awesome deal. We saw a couple seconds ago in our bar sweep. The Easy Street Dessert and Wine Bar open 11 a.m. daily with lunch and dinner, meat and cheese trays, soups and salads, all sorts of selection of red and white wines, and a very unique atmosphere. Easy Street Dessert and Wine Bar right next to the Bagnell Dam. And here we go. A look at the Woods Supermarket Bagnell Dam turn camera. Deck to deck, Shane predicted. And here we go.
Green Flag Racing, Cleveland Construction is out front. I forgot about them being out there. Here comes WHM right now, Performance and MCon. Look at that. You can throw a towel over all of these boats. MCon is in the hunt right now with these guys. WHM and Performance Boat Center, you can jump from boat to boat. And inside leg right now, Bob Teague, Ed Smith, Cleveland Construction making their way in. Look at this. All 3 boats within 10 feet of each other. This is going to be exciting. We want to stay on turn 1 coming in here. This is going to be the deciding factor right here. Whoever makes it out of this turn first is going to command the race. They're going to be difficult to get around. I'm not going to say that these guys block each other, but the boat out front will command this race as they come out of this set of turns right here. And as they come into it, Ed Smith, Bob Teague, inside line. Look at that turn right there. WHM right on their hip, and Performance Boat Center right there. WHM making a pass on the outside, carrying a lot of speed through that turn right there. Those guys do such a great job with that bigger boat in that class. And right on their hip is Performance Boat Center. So Cleveland Construction coming into that turn scrubbed off a lot of speed because they were on that inside line. WHM carried a little more speed. Unfortunately, Performance Boat Center further out had to travel a further distance. It's not making a lot of difference now as those boats come right back to neck and neck coming up the front stretch. And look at this race we've got here.
Ooh, baby, we can officially say the race is underway as they start lap number 1. Again, this first part, it's a 2-part race, is 6 laps.
Look at that. WHM out to the lead in a 40-foot skater. Jay Mueller, Billy Moff out there right now. Those boys are not afraid to turn that boat and to stand it up on its end and let it air out, as you can see right there. Here comes Bob Teague on our inset right there. He's all aired out. I mean, this is Super Cat racing in smooth water at its best right there. You got Johnny Tomlinson, Myrick Coyle, and the Performance Boat Center boat just off the hip of WHM. Both of those boats opening up a little bit of a lead right now over Cleveland Construction. Now watch this turn.
Look at this.
They're going to be close. Here we go. This is a turn right here. Look at that. They are, Billy is not giving him any ground, and Myrick is right up on the side of that boat. Oh, that is close. If they're not touching, they got to be close. Look at Billy shoving him out there wide. I mean, look at that. If they didn't touch right there, I'll be shocked. There could not have been a foot in between those boats.
Shano, the skill set of these drivers to hit those turns and hit those turns in such close proximity to your competitors.
And you say close proximity. The last race, Billy Moff wore a souvenir around in the form of a orange buoy that he nailed on the first lap, and then he finished the rest of the race with it hanging off of his boat. Now, here's what I'm blown away with. Look at your third place boat, MCon Construction. Brett Miller, Tyler Miller, 2 rookies. I haven't seen HP Mafia. Have they dropped out? I did not see them come around. Hopefully we don't have any problems out there.
I saw all 5 boats were on the straightaway. So
we're focusing on our leaders here, but look at that, WHM. Billy is an aggressive driver. He is not going to give those guys an inch because he knows that boat is a little bit faster in these conditions. But he's not going to give them any room. They're going to have to earn every bit of it. And obviously, Performance Boat Center, the hometown favorite, huge fan base out there.
Defending champion, world
Look
champion,
on the
Wood Supermarket camera there as they go around turn number 3.
Looks like we got WHM, Performance Boat Center, Cleveland Construction, MCon. That's your running order right now. And still, like I thought in the beginning, you can throw a towel over Performance Boat Center and WHM, and it's going to be that way the whole race unless one of them has an issue.
Getting ready to wrap lap number 1 right now. We've got to step aside. We'll get you the final few laps of this, again, first half of the Super Cat race, the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. We're back after this. The 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. The Super Cats, sponsored by Polylift Boat Lifts, are on the course right now. WHM maintains its lead and maybe widening that lead a little bit.
Yeah, just while we were at break, right before we came out of break, Performance Boat Center, Myrick Coyle in there doing everything he can do.
Here's your Elite Roofing and Siding replay.
Dove to the inside, went back through the rooster tail onto the outside, and then back to the inside again, all in the Bagnell Dam turn. And you see him right there. That was a couple laps back. The most recent lap, they switched lanes 2 or 3 times in the turn, trying to do anything they can do to get around WHM, and Billy Moff making that boat as wide as possible. He is not making it easy to go around him.
We've got 2 laps in the books. They're on lap 3 right now by our count, and starting to see some bigger, puffier clouds start to make their way onto the horizon, but temperatures in the mid-80s right now out here on course, and just a dynamite race in the Polylift Boatlift Super Cat race, exactly what we knew it would be. And then this is going to be fast and furious. We're going to be with you, uninterrupted racing coverage through the end of this particular race.
Now, the one thing that's developing here right now is WHM and Performance Boat Center battle each other for first place. You know, Billy and Jay doing a lot of driving in their mirrors, and Performance Boat Center doing anything they can do to get around them. They're fighting each other. They're not thinking about third place. Bob Teague, Ed Smith, who is creeping up on these guys. That gives Bob Teague and Ed Smith a clean slate to track these guys down, to stalk these guys around this course, because those two front runners are just concentrating on battling each other right now. And WHM is holding off Performance Boat Center as we speak, but don't count them out. I mean, there is less than 2 seconds between the first 3 boats and less than 3 seconds between the entire fleet, as WHM's out front, Performance Boat Center in second, Cleveland Construction in third, Imcon in fourth, and bringing up the rear is HP Mafia. But all these boats are inside of about a 5-second window.
They're not telling us this is the end of lap 2, so lap 3 now starting.
Correct. And what I'm seeing on our screens right now, WHM opening up a lead, which is telling me that their setup is coming in as the race goes on, as they burn off some fuel, that their setup is getting a little better for them. And I'd love some clarification if somebody will send it in. I don't know what changes they're allowed to make between heats. It's my understanding, none. So the aggravation in that is Billy and Jay are coming into their setup right now. If Myrick and Johnny's setup comes in a little later, they'll be poised for a much better run in the second heat.
Right.
And obviously the only guys that know that are the 2 guys that are in the boats. But what we're seeing on the screen right now, Jay and Billy are pulling away a little bit right now. So they're coming into their setup a little better. Cleveland Construction is closing the ground right now on Performance Boat Center, but WHM right now is what we're talking about. They are stretching out a comfortable margin right now. Imcon running in 4th place. They look like they've got a pretty comfortable lead there over HP Mafia, who's bringing up our final position of 5th. And the boats have spread out a little bit now, so we should have just completed lap 3, coming into lap 4. So we've got 3 more laps, full laps of racing.
Well, they're still on lap 3 right now.
Should have completed lap 3, I believe, at the Blue Water when they went by there that time. So we should be starting lap 4.
Lap 4 underway.
Yep. Lap 4 underway. WHM making their way into turn, what would be our turns 1, followed by Performance Boat Center, Cleveland Construction, and we're waiting for the shot to see Imcon Construction. Should be coming up now. There we go. There's Imcon. Opened up a nice margin over the HP Mafia boat. So the boats are pretty spread out at this point. I would say this is probably going to be your finishing order unless we have some mechanical issues. But WHM doing a great job with that 40-foot skater out here. And that is the second biggest boat on the course. Imcon is the largest boat out there, and they're currently running 4th. WHM, the second largest boat, and then the 388 skaters are all comparable that are out there running right now.
This hour of the 2017 Lake Race is presented to you by Osmond Construction, as we continue to see the WHM boat maintain its advantage. It's a pretty considerable advantage right now as we continue here in lap 4.
Absolutely. See, I believe that was Cleveland Construction that showed us, but right now we're back to WHM and Performance Boat Center battling for 1st and 2nd place, as they have been since the drop of the green flag. WHM making its way through the Bagnell Dam turn in a slight lead, not comfortable.
And I can tell you right now, get this race done, because we do have rain on the way, and ideally we can get these Super Cats and their runs done, because I was wondering, we were starting to see some menacing skies behind us, and oh boy, it is definitely on the way. Yep.
I'm going to go with the speed of these boats at Lake Race are creating such a vortex out there. It's going to scare the rain around the lake.
The good news is as if the storms they could stay just to our south. But again, we're definitely seeing some ominous skies on our television screens right now. Lap 5 starting here, Shane, as we continue to see the lead for WHM.
Yep, I don't see them opening up anymore, but it doesn't look like Performance Boat Center is gaining any ground. They're staying about a rooster tail length apart. Bar no mechanical problems, that's probably going to be your finishing. Or you're probably looking at WHM first, Performance Boat Center second. And then Cleveland Construction, I believe, still currently third. IMCON running in fourth. And your fifth place boat is HP Mafia. So, the aggravation to the crews, both on and off the boats, is they can't make any changes to make their boat better for the next heat. So, either they know something inside of, hey, as soon as we burn off some more fuel, it's going to get better, or, you know what, we just picked the wrong propellers today, it's not our day. And that's the disheartening part, going back out to that second heat, thinking you don't have the right setup. But again, somebody can spin out, somebody can have a mechanical failure, attrition, all those things play into effect.
Brendan Matthews and Shane Sherman with you. We're live inside the Dick Gotke Construction broadcast booth. The lead for WHM maybe a little bit slimmer. And again, the prize for winning this first heat is the inside track coming up in Heat 2 later on this afternoon.
Right, and the issue that everybody is going to be faced with dealing with is WHM has proven to everybody when he gets out front, he's very difficult to get around. If he gets to start the inside line, he's going to set the line coming down through there, and again, be very difficult to get around. So, like you said, I don't see a lot of gaining or either direction. WHM is not pulling anything, and Performance Boat Center isn't gaining significant ground right now. They're both running comfortable first and second.
And if you're Performance Boat Center right now, Shane, yes, I think there is a prize to be able to start inside, but no need to risk anything right now. Just let it play out the rest of the way, and
whoa, there we go. Myrick Coyle
battle, but here we do.
Through the rooster tail, shortening up that lake course right now, trying to take as much distance as he can off of this 4-mile course, and Billy's going to come in and shut the door on him.
Yeah.
And, they're just basically at this point, you've got to try different stuff to get around him because you're in second. You want to be in first. Riding around on the hip of the first place boat isn't getting it done. Unlike the other boats earlier today that had a larger lead, they can't run the same line the leader's running because they'll be stuck in the roost. He's trying it right now. He's back through the roost to the outside. When I say Billy's making that boat wide, they're driving in their mirrors. Anybody who follows racing, I'm sure you've heard that term before in NASCAR, they're watching what's going on behind them. They know they're out in front. There isn't anybody they got to watch for out in front. They don't want number 2 coming around them. So every time Myrick and Johnny switch lanes, Billy and Jay adjust accordingly to keep them behind them.
Final lap here of our first heat of the Super Cats, presented to you by Polylift Boat Lifts.
What a great race we've seen. I mean,
we knew it. We knew this was going to be good.
Racing. I would love to see a replay of the first or second lap where if those two guys didn't touch coming around turn 4, there could not have been a foot between them. As you see Myrick Coyle right there in the roost, just trying to stay as tight as he can to the pins and cut off as much distance as possible to chop that lead down that WHM currently has. But it looks like right now we're looking at our finishing order of WHM out front, Performance Boat Center in second. Third place is going to be Cleveland Construction, and fourth is IMCON. So that's the way the top 3 are running right now. WHM looking like they're opening up a nice lead right there. The downside to trying those different lines, diving in, diving out, is you do scrub a little more speed off. So, but you have to try. You can't just ride around and hope for the best. So, hats off to Myrick and Johnny. They've been trying everything they can to get around WHM. But looks like right now, Heat 1, WHM looks like they'll be our winner.
Performance Boat Center hanging in there all the way.
Looking at the old
checker
black
flag.
and white.
Great look there, Big Thunder. Our Big Thunder finish line camera and the checkered flag to award this first heat.
Yep, great racing. Those first few laps where they were neck and neck, that was top-level driving and throttling by the crews in those two boats. No incidents. Great job, guys.
Shane Sherman, I'm Brendan Matthews. It's the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. We're back after this. Brendan Matthews and Shane Sherman with you inside the Dick Hockey Construction broadcast booth as the first half of our Super Cat race, sponsored by Polylit Boat Lifts, in the books. And right now, WHM, your leader, followed by Performance Boat Center and Cleveland Construction. And don't forget, we're streaming live on KRMSradio.com, 93.5rocks.com, live video, live audio, and that is sponsored by First Mate Remote Control. Manual to remote, they help control your boat. Visit firstmatecontrols.com.
And as we're looking there at the Edward J. Painting boat coming in on the tow line of Towboat US, they ran a flawless race. I'm wondering if they just ran the boat out of fuel out there or had a last-minute issue, but they appeared to run a flawless race. But I did see them get towed into the crane area in the Edward J. Painting boat, so I'll be interested to see what the outcome of that was. And we're getting ready for our super stock boats, which will be your twin-engine outboard boats. Looks like we have a total 4 boats in that class. F&J Propeller with Stephen Rack and Gary Ballou. CNR Racing of Rob Understall and Casey Bowes, some Lake Ozark locals. As well as Nick's Creative Marine, Nick Scafidi and Scott Porta out of Florida. And TNT Caddyshack Golf Carts with Ryan Beckley and Ricky Bobby Taylor.
We'll give you more of those particulars here in just a couple of minutes. Down to the docks we go, as his reports are sponsored by Somerset Boat Lifts. A hi and hello to Brad Harrington.
Hey everybody, it's Brad Harrington. I'm grabbing these guys right before they go out to race. We got Mark Gallagher and Mike Wood in the Team Specialized, number 512. You guys are going to be racing against how many boats in your class today?
We're 5 other boats, 6 altogether.
Sweet. Which pole position do you get?
We're second from the pole.
Awesome, awesome. And Mike, you're in the boat with him, and you're going to be watching that GPS and telling him to back off, all right?
You better believe it. We're number 2 in points right now from Bimini, Bahamas. So this is my first time here in the Lake of the Ozarks. I'm very excited.
Isn't it a cool place? We enjoy having you guys here, and coming all the way from Maine.
Massachusetts, yep.
Oh, yeah, Boston, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and what a great event. It's just, people here are friendly, the water's wonderful, the facilities are outstanding.
Well, Mark actually does own a house in Maine, so you have good instincts.
Yeah, I saw the trailer tag.
Yeah.
Hey, and this is kind of a classic. It's a 1988, right?
Yeah, 1988 Superboat.
It's a classic. I love this boat. It is so fast with the twin outboards. You guys, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Hey, back to you guys up there in the booth. It's going to be a good race today.
Thank you, Brad. His report sponsored by Somerset Boat Lifts, lifting your dreams from canoes to cruisers. Visit somersetboatlifts.com as we get set for our super stock race, the FJ Propeller boat. Shane, they are the defending Lake Race champions. We mentioned earlier today, so many returning champions from this event, so many national and world champions as well. Just skill level, so many of these racers off the charts, and we've got another one coming up here with the super stocks, although unfortunately we may have to include weather permitting as some menacing skies, but they're going to start this parade lap here, and we're going to get underway, Shane.
Absolutely, and in the F&J Propeller boat, Gary Ballou, I think 13-time world and national champion, more checker flags than you can count.
Incredible.
But rookie driver, Stephen Rack in there with him. First time in a race boat. Wanted to come out, see what it's like. Nobody better to show him the ropes than Gary Ballou. So that's what we have aboard the F&J Propeller boat. CNR Racing, Rob Understall and Casey Bowes. That is an open cockpit boat out there. The interesting thing about that is they got in the boat together last year. That is a pleasure boat that Casey purchased from Gary Ballou. They were hooked. They have a brand new Doug Wright catamaran, which is the same as the F&J Propeller boat, sitting over at Performance Boat Center being rigged as we speak. Performance Boat Center picked up the boat as a bare hull. They'll handle all the rigging and construction duties on it, just as they did with the Imcon boat. So perfectly capable crew over there. I believe Andy Sanders heading up the rig job on that, as well as he did on the Imcon boat. So those two guys got bitten by the bug here at Lake Race, have a brand new race boat being commissioned over at Performance Boat Center, and look to make an effort in the entire circuit with that new race boat. That's Casey Bowes and Rob Unnerstall. The Nick's Creative Marine, Nick Scafidi and Scott Porta out there in the blue hulled Doug Wright. Nick also has a brand new Doug Wright boat being commissioned and rigged as we speak. And then we have Ryan Beckley, been around the sport for many years, and his driver Ricky Bobby Taylor in the TNT Caddyshack Golf Cars, the local sponsor, jumping on board Ryan's boat there at Lake Race. So we appreciate TNT Caddyshack Golf Cars out there for supporting Lake Race and getting their name out there on the side of Ryan Beckley's S111 skater. And fun class of racing here. The last couple years, it's been up in the air on what route they're going to go with the respective motor, as the 2.5 liter Mercury Offshore was getting phased out. A lot of different opinions and thoughts on which direction the class should go. Several different things tried. It appears that everybody now is on board with the 300X Powerhead. A few different configurations on midsections out there. And then, of course, everybody's running a Sportmaster lower unit. So, without a doubt, the favorite going into today's race is the F&J propeller boat. Even though he does have rookie driver Stephen Rack in there with him, the experience that Gary Ballou has of teaching these guys how to run the boat is just, you can't beat it. And the boat is always dominant, so that's probably your class favorite going into the Superstock race.
No question about it, and it's a 10-lap race, a little longer than what we just saw with at least the first heat of the Super Cats, the Super Stocks. We've got 4 boats on our roster, and again, FJ Propeller. And you mentioned Gary Ballou and how long he's been doing it. Certainly, as you mentioned, one of the odds-on favorites here as they continue the parade lap. They'll bring it back around towards the dam, and we will get this race underway.
Now, I'm not sure, but I don't know if they'll make F&J Propeller start in the back or not, because obviously Gary Ballou, no rookie to the sport, but his driver, Stephen Rack, first time in the boat. Technically, he is a rookie, and he is the driver of record for that boat. So they may find themselves starting 100 yards back, which could play a major outcome on this race. So nice to know they have the 12 laps to make that up versus the 6 laps that we just seen the Super Cats run. But that could be a major factor there as well, because they'll have to contend with boat traffic, boat waves, and then also be able to dominate their performance to get out front.
Weather might be on the way, but the Super Stocks are on the course. We start our next race coming up. It's the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. Back after this. The 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race is on the air, parade lap wrapping for our Super Stocks. That's a great look, sunny on that camera angle. Other cameras show us the impending weather that is on the way. There's a look at our Woods Supermarket, Bagnell Dam turn cam. By the way, this hour of the lake race is presented to you by Osmond Construction. As our Super Stocks are getting ready, we're gonna, in a second here, Shane, we're gonna get a live weather update. As again, we've got showers, thunder showers, although the latest radar I've looked at doesn't indicate any lightning.
Everybody, rain is going to clear, but it is going to be moving through the Lake of the Ozarks area. Back to you guys.
Let's check in right now with, you heard him there, I think he's getting ready to pay us a visit. The meteorologist over at KSPR, it's Kevin Leidy. If he's ready to join us, let's throw things over to Kevin right now with a quick update on the weather that may be making its way to Beavers at the Dam. Kevin.
Lighty, we are tracking some rain out here that unfortunately is going to look like impact some of the races out here. Let's take a look at the radar, and you can see that we've got storms that are forming here, as you can see, just south of Lake Ozark, and these storms are actually moving to the north and to the east, and so we're located right about here, and those storms are coming in. They're still kind of isolated, but we're going to put down some rain here before too long. Now, we're actually looking at those storms up here on our camera, and you can see those clouds that are billowing down there to our south and east, and that's going to come right over the lake probably within the next 20 minutes to maybe a half an hour or so. So we are going to get wet, but I think there will be breaks here that this rain is going to clear, but we may have a brief break here because of some of the rain that is going to be moving through the Lake of the Ozarks area. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. That update sponsored by PDQ Marine. Somebody tell Kevin to take off his Cubs hat. Crying out loud.
That's awful. That's awful nervy here in Cardinal country.
Indeed. Here we go. The Super Stock race is underway, and they're going to head towards start finish here, Kevin, Shane, and we're going to have again four very competitive racers.
Absolutely. From what we're seeing right now on the screen, F&J Propellers out to a lead already in the Super Stock class. That's Gary Ballou and Stephen Rack. Stephen, again, in his debut event here, Lake Race. And, you know, this is a great venue for a first-time racer. The water's generally not rough. The straightaways are long, so they can get accustomed to a higher speed. The turns are not ridiculously tight, like, say, a Key West Harbor turn would be. So it's a forgiving track for a new person learning the ropes. And as you can see out there, Stephen obviously learning the ropes from one of the best, which is Gary Ballou, and that boat's stretching out a commanding lead already.
Gotta love it, though. We got all four boats in one shot. They are all within shotting distance.
So we've got two Doug Wrights, two skaters here today in our Super Stock class, all running Mercury outboard power, and these boats will be running a 12-lap event, 51 miles here at Lake Race. And
10 laps.
10 laps.
10 laps.
Sorry, yes. Super Stock, correct. 10 laps. 10 laps.
And we're now just officially on lap number one as they passed start finish. We are underway. And a lead for the F&J Propeller boat, defending Lake Race champion. Look there at Bagnell Dam. Again, I'm curious to see if all four boats, although our fourth place running boat there has now started to fall back a little further among the pack. Look at the Wood Supermarket camera.
If I'm not mistaken, it looks like F&J Propeller out front. Second place appears to be Ryan Beckley and Ricky Taylor in the TNT Caddyshack golf carts. Third place is Rob Understall and Casey Bowes. I don't know what name, CNR Racing. And then that would leave Nick's Creative Marine would be your fourth place boat. As the shot comes in right now, that'll give us a little better. Obviously, F&J out front, as we see on our screen right now. That's why he's got the big number one on the front of that boat. And off to a commanding lead right now in S-Class.
The TNT Caddyshack boat, we got running second here, Shane, followed by CNR Racing, as we are on lap number one currently.
So second and third place, pretty good battle for those guys. What's interesting there is you've got an open cockpit boat and a canopied boat running side by side with each other. Historically, the canopied boat is a little faster due to less wind drag.
Be a little wind shift or something coming as you take a look at those ominous clouds, and as you get a little more wind, a little more breeze coming out of those storms, even without the rain, Shane, that is going to change this course potentially significantly.
What these guys will notice in the outboard cat class, if we start to get some crosswind, these boats will blow around real easily. The bigger catamarans will do it as well, especially the extreme boats, because they are running so fast and they're so light on their feet. But these boats are just physically light. They're not a very heavy boat, so they will blow around a little bit if the winds pick up here, and we'll be able to see that on the straightaways as our race proceeds. As we hear a little bit of our background noise there, sounds like the start-finish boat. Somebody's taking a swim out there. And just if if you want to know what a stock outboard boat is supposed to look like when it's doing everything perfectly, take a screenshot of that right there, because that's what it's supposed to look like. And Performance Boat Center, our title sponsor, to my knowledge, has bought out all of the production of the Doug Wrights. So anybody anywhere who wants a Doug Wright, go to Performance Boat Center, because they are so confident in that hull, in that respective class, that they have purchased the entire production line of all the boats that Doug Wright can put out. I know there's a brand new pleasure boat and a brand new race boat sitting over at Performance Boat Center right now.
Look at that setup for F&J Propeller. 1 lap in the books. Lap number 2 underway for F&J Propeller in our super stock race. 10 laps will mark the finish, and a ways to go. You're joining us live from the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. Back after this.
To about at least the turn width, definitely turns 1 and 2 ahead of every other boat on the course. They are in the commanding position. They can kick back right now and take it pretty easy as they make their way around here.
And heading towards start finish, which would begin lap number 4 for the F&J Propeller boat with a rather substantial lead, as Shane alluded to. Right now, we're still out on the course and staying dry out on the course, at least in terms of the rain right now, and that is very good news as it continues to really sort of surround the area. Some real menacing clouds that I think you'll be able to see here on the Property Shop West Turn camera as we get another kind of straight on look here.
Yeah, just it looks picture perfect out there as what we're seeing, and that's why I hope it stays. So if not, a little resurfacing of the track, it's not a bad idea. A little rain come through, give us a new racing surface to play with as our extremes are on standby.
They are indeed, and it did look like there was a battle for second place right now.
It did. Nick and Rob and Scott Porta there, those two battling it out a little bit. So you've got Nick Scafidi and Scott Porta, Rob Understall and Casey Bowes in the CNR Racing. They are in a battle for second place right now. Good race going between those guys right now. As we mentioned, both of those guys in that shot have brand new Doug Wright boats being built right now. Nick's boat a little further along than Rob and Casey's boat, but Rob and Casey have a brand new Doug Wright being rigged over at Performance Boat Center here on Lake of the Ozarks, and I don't see any reason why that boat can't be finished by the end of the season. We'll probably see those guys out there in their race boat, and this is Casey's pleasure boat that he keeps here on Lake of the Ozarks that you see out there running right now. But they ran together, I believe, last year here at Lake Race, got bitten by the bug, and said, let's go whole hog. That's the latest and greatest brand new Doug Wright sitting over at Performance Boat Center right now.
And unless they've been lapped, Shane, they're making up some ground here on F&J Propeller.
They definitely are making up some ground. So hard to say if F&J is.
I don't know if he hasn't lost a little. He's lost a little steam. I don't think there's any question about it.
For sure, he definitely has.
He's about to give up this lead. We've got ourselves a race here in Superstock, folks.
Absolutely.
Look at this. We have got a new leader in Superstocks. Unbelievable. Out of nowhere. Wow. Out of nowhere, Nick's Creative Marine has taken the lead in F&J Propeller. Maybe some technical issues, but they are now runner-up to Nick's. What a turn of events here, Shane.
And about to be overtaken.
Yeah.
Gary's race boat is about to be overtaken by his old pleasure boat. So whatever has happened in the F&J boat right there, hopefully they can get a handle on, but definitely have lost some major ground to Scott and Nick out there in the Porta Products boat, or Nick's Creative Marine, I'm sorry. Porta Products also a sponsor on board that boat. Scott Porta, of course, the throttle man in there. Nick Scafidi, the driver in that boat. And I just have a report which should make very interesting news for the second Super Cat race, which will be your Performance Boat Center, WHM, etc. They are allowed to change propellers.
So that's big.
That's big.
That's very big. There were some questions about that.
Yes, absolutely. Now, from what I can see personally from our vantage point here, and as reported by Brad Harrington, who is down on the dock, WHM is changing their propellers. Now, the question would be why? They won the last race.
Right.
So, my opinion, personally, is they came into their setup perfectly at the end of that race. They expanded their lead, you know, throughout that race. But that tells me by the end of that race, they were out of propeller. As the boat lightened up and everything else, they were out of propeller. So, if they're going to a little taller prop, now that the boat's a little lighter on fuel, that would make sense at this stage in the game. Hard to say which direction they're going, but nonetheless, from our vantage point here, you can clearly see they are making a change on the docks.
And back to our super stock race here as Nick's Creative Marine, they have taken the lead as lap 5 is underway. And quite the change in what we saw, which was a commanding lead for F&J Propeller, and clearly something has happened to turn their fortunes sour. And we want to welcome our friends watching us on KPLR Channel 11 in St. Louis. Welcome aboard. You are on our super stock race at the Lake of the Ozarks outside Beavers at the Dam. Brendan Matthews and Shane Sherman alongside inside the Dick Gotke Construction broadcast booth. And I can tell you that this hour is sponsored by Performance Boat Center, and this is the Performance Boat Center 2017 Lake Race. And Shane, right now, for a lot of the folks just joining us, we're in the middle of a race. We're on lap 5 of a 10-lap race. And we saw a huge turn where the defending champion FJ Propeller boat looked like it had, maybe as much as a 7 or 8 second lead over its competition. Well, it has given up that lead, and now we can explain why. Because FJ Propeller is coming off the course, and that certainly explains a lot because they had a commanding lead. We saw that fall apart, and look who the leader is right now with Nick's Creative Marine.
Absolutely. And
running this race.
You know, if memory serves, Brendan, we first seen Nick's Creative Marine come onto the scene in a P-class entry down in Inglewood, a Velocity V-bottom boat. Apparently got bitten by the bug, jumped into a more professional class of racing, the Canopy Catamaran, and then he's purchased a brand new Doug Wright that's being rigged right now. Unfortunate for F&J Propeller, 13-time world and national champion Gary Ballou in there on the throttles, and rookie driver today, Stephen Rack in there with him, coming off the course as we just seen, but their day of racing is done. As we look back out on the course right now, and Nick Scafidi and Scott Porta out to a comfortable margin over second place, Rob Understall and Casey Bowes. So, be interesting to hear as the reports come in what happened to the F&J Propeller boat. The report that I am getting right now is Performance Boat Center has not shown any sign of changing their props. So my prediction on the last race, as the end of the race came to a head, WHM was at the peak of their setup, and Performance Boat Center just coming into their setup. So should be an interesting turn of events as we see our second heat of Super Cat racing. So the propeller change, it changes a lot of things for a lot of reasons. This course, they're not doing any changes based on water conditions. For all practical purposes, it's smooth. So they're going with their smooth water setup. But as the fuel load burns off, the boats get lighter, accelerate a little better, and they'll get up on the rev limiter quicker. The ideal setup would be to hit the rev limiter a half a second before you start your turn. Probably not going to happen.
And we've got a lot coming up on that race. It's our second half of the Super Cats, Shane is referring to. The race you folks are watching right now, the Super Stocks, they are now just starting the 6th lap and in a commanding lead. And it did not start out that way. It's Nick's Creative Marine. This was a race that started with 4 Super Stocks. We are down to 2. And that brings us to one of our continuing themes. For those of you folks just joining us in St. Louis, it's not always about the top speeds. And we're going to see speeds, 150, 160, 170, certainly on these straightaways. But it comes down to a battle of attrition, a war of attrition. Can you outlast your opponent? Because technical issues with these boats, Shane, we see it all the time, and that's a big part. Run a fast race, but run a smart race as well.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's not as exciting as a rough water race, to watch the boats ride around in smooth water. It's horrible on the equipment because they never get a break. It's hold it on the dash and never let go. So it's tough on equipment. It's, as to where a rough water race is tough in the respect that, one, it's tough on your body because you take a beating out there in 3 and 4 foot seas. It's tough on your equipment to shake and break stuff loose. But here, just think of going out and putting the accelerator on your car to the floor and not letting off for 50 miles. But not like your car that will shift in a transmission. Put it in first gear and go up a hill for 50 miles and never let off. That's what these boats are experiencing, and that's why you're seeing attrition on a smooth water race, because they're just not getting a break.
And again, to give you folks some perspective as to where we're at, the 0 mile marker right next to Bagnell Dam, Beavers at the dam on the strip in Lake Ozark. And a course combined all the way around, not a perfect oval, as a couple dog legs in there, as we alluded to earlier today, but a course that stretches approximately 4.3 miles. So a track that certainly tests your endurance to go along the speed. There is the track right now. A great look at it. That gives you, you see us in the lower right-hand corner. That's our broadcast position, Beavers at the dam. That's the look that we have if we look out our window here in our Dick Otke Construction broadcast booth. And you see sort of right in the middle of your screen, that is the start-finish line. And that is where Nick's Creative Marine is approaching as we speak to wrap up its 6th lap and begin lap number 7.
Yep, that dog leg, as we talked about earlier, Brendan, that is, these guys will try to make that as perfectly square of a course as possible and run, as little of that dog leg as they can, because every time they turn that wheel just a little bit, it scrubs off speed. And of course, whoever, scrubs off the most speed is going to start losing positions and fall back. And as we're watching right now, the Super Stocks, that is a V6 outboard power boat. Not a lot of torque in relation to the other classes. As we get in here later on today and see the Extremes, they got a ton of torque. They can turn the wheel a little bit. It doesn't affect them as much as it will a boat like this that's really relying on efficiency to get around the course, because they don't have a massive amount of horsepower to overcome the discrepancies of a slightly turned wheel or something.
This is the Nick's Creative Marine boat making its turn around turn number 2, heading back towards this first straightaway. Bagnell Dam in the background. We do have weather in the area, but so far so good. It has stayed away from our course. And again, a lot of those keys. Can you avoid the wind? Can you avoid the lightning? You can see the rain drafts, rain shafts, I should say, there in the background, and it definitely noticeable. It's in the area, but we still have racing going on right now on the ground. So take a look at the West Turn camera, brought to you by the Property Shop, and an enormous lead opened up here by Nick's Creative Marine on our 7th lap.
Absolutely. You can see the background there. That doesn't look too promising. I'm going to go ahead and go with it's going to go around us.
It's starting to look like at least that portion of it, that particular rain shaft, is not necessarily for us. So that's some good news.
What a great shot. I mean, those guys have that boat trimmed and dialed in perfectly. Of course, he's out there trying to compete with, I don't want to use the word real race boats, but that is a dedicated race boat. Dedicated is a better word. The Porter Products boat, F&J, TNT Caddyshacs, all dedicated race boats. Casey and Nick are out there running around in Casey's pleasure boat as they await the completion of their brand new race boat that's sitting over Performance Boat Center, only delivered just a few weeks ago, and Performance Boat Center in a frenzy to get the IMCOM boat ready, which we're going to see in a little bit.
We must step aside this hour, brought to you by Performance Boat Center. It is the 2017 Performance Boat Center Lake Race. We're back after this. Coming to you live inside the Degaki Construction broadcast booth. Brendan Matthews and Shane Sherman with you live at Lake of the Ozarks. Beavers at the dam. It is the super stock race going on outside, back behind us as we speak. And just 2 boats remain in this race right now, Shane. And we are on lap number 8. And it is currently, at least at last check, the Nick's Creative Marine. But again, in a race that has been dominated by attrition with 2 of the 4 boats dropping out.
Yeah, and as we discussed earlier today, this class has lost their motor of choice. Mercury just discontinued it. It was a 2.5-liter V6 2-stroke motor, and the class has been trying to find a happy medium ever since then to put on the back of these boats. And the motors they have on there right now, they're still figuring out. So normally speaking, the outboard motor is ridiculously reliable. But again, they're in a racing environment now, and they're just trying to get all the bugs worked out as to which is the best route to go for the class. So 1 lap left to go as we look in at Casey Bowes and Rob Understall in Casey's pleasure boat. As we mentioned earlier, brand new race boat, state-of-the-art, being rigged for those guys over at Performance Boat Center. And if the performance of the IMCON boat is any indication as to how well those guys do coming out of the gate, I mean, can't argue with the Performance Boat Center's Supercats showing, national world champions.
Right.
IMCON came out of the gate with 2 rookie guys in there, finished 3rd place in their first race, 4th place here at Lake Race. And no doubt in my mind, with the experience these guys are getting here in Lake Race and the pleasure boat, when that boat comes out of Performance Boat Center, it'll be right, and these guys will be a contender in this class. So something exciting to look forward to in Superstock.
On its 9th lap right now. Again, this is a 10-lap race, so he'll have 1 more lap to complete, and so essentially about a lap and a half, so they'll hit the 10th lap, and then still have to run that 10th lap. But it's been just a fantastic race run by these guys, Shane, because, again, consistency has to count for something, and the boat has been trimmed out. Its setup has looked exactly the same from the minute we started to where we're at right now on the 9th lap.
Absolutely.
Both these boats, really.
You know, that all comes down to seat time. And for those folks listening or watching out there that aren't avid racers, seat time means how much time you spend in the seat. We all started driving when we were, at least in state Missouri, when we were 16. You know, we had hands on the wheels at 10 and 2, and we didn't change lanes without a blinker or nothing. And now we go down the highway and, well, most people, I personally still drive at 10 and 2 with a seatbelt and 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. But I've seen other people drive, you know, and text and do all these other things. So as you get more comfortable, as you get more seat time in your respective vehicle, aka race boat, you get more comfortable and you run the boat harder, which equates into faster, and that's the difference between 3rd and 1st place. And you know, seat time is the key. So we're getting reports of a little bit of rain on the course right now, which is a great time for anybody out there to swing into Beavers.